everything that's on my Portra page pretty soon is going to be transitioning to Cayden Wemple and vice versa. I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time, and I felt like I hadn't done any growing. Honestly, tattoo shops should just bar that from happening.
Hey, can I just get an infinity symbol here? No, actually, no, you can't.
No,
we're done.
Honestly, it's a little bit maybe narcissistic to get your own music tattooed on you, even though I'm a total hypocrite and did that, basically.
Hey, if you're like me and you're interested in the YouTube or creator space, you should check out The Published Press. The Published Press is a completely free newsletter founded by YouTubers Colin and Samir. They host their own podcast talking to some of YouTube's largest creators. They've edited some of the best content I've seen on YouTube, and now they're sharing their knowledge about the YouTube space with you for free. The Published Press comes out 3 times a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with everything going on with your favorite creators and platforms. And like I said, it's completely free. Just enter your email address to receive the Published Press whenever it comes out, and that's it. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description below, sign up to the Published Press, and get all the info you need on the industry.
He's an up-and-coming artist with a refreshing folk sound. He's been featured on various folk playlists, and you may know him from his song Not to Catch You by Surprise. Please welcome Portra to the podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm great. So just the first question I wanted to ask you about, what was your first experience with music or what made you start considering a career in music?
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing music since I was 8 years old. I've really just been drawn to it my whole life. My family was always playing adult contemporary music in the background of my childhood, Dave Matthews and stuff like that. And later in my teens, I started getting into indie folk music like Bon Iver, Gregory Alan Isaacoff, stuff like that. And I just was like, man, this is just exactly what I wanted to do. And went to college for it, and now I'm here.
Nice. Yeah. And so what was was it just music in general or a specific music major that you went for?
I went to school for songwriting and music business as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you.
And so growing up, was it did you know pretty early on that you wanted to do music, or was there anything else you considered as a possible career or anything like that?
I was terrible at school. I got really shit grades, and not super shit, but bad. Not I wasn't going to be a lawyer or a doctor. And I just sort of came to the conclusion in my freshman or sophomore year of high school that I was yeah, I mean, I'm just going to put all my energy into this and try to see where it goes. And I've been working on my songwriting craft for 10 years at this point. So I just kind of put all the eggs in the basket and trying to make it work out.
Yeah, nice. And so once, maybe someone else is listening to this who's also starting to try to make it work, they've sort of decided, okay, music, what I want to do, I want to try to do this as a career. What tips or advice would you give to other people just starting their music career, starting to try to build a brand?
I would say to just hone in your craft as much as you possibly can. Listen to music that's out of your comfort zone. If you're really into the indie folk like I was in college, I decided to go a more emo route and started to listen to heavier music and expand your horizons. It's always going to be a grind, so just put the work in, and hopefully it works out.
Yeah, awesome. And so once you started releasing music or started making music, how did the artist name Portra sort of come up or come about? What's the origin behind that?
Yeah, so I've been going I had been going by Cayden Wemple. That was my solo project page in high school. And my band in college was called Keep Off the Grass, and we did that emo thing that I was talking about. And then I was that band was coming to a halt, and I was talking to my bandmate who's a photographer, and he started talking about this film that Kodak uses called Portra, and it's just like I just liked the ring of it. But actually, I'm switching the name back from Portra to Cayden Wemple. So everything that's on my Portra page pretty soon is going to be transitioning to Cayden Wemple, and vice versa. So I'm sort of transitioning out of this Portra thing, and I'm just going to be going by Cayden Wemple.
And what was like the thought process behind that? Because I'm sure, like, was it just feeling like Cayden Wemple was more authentic, more a better fit for the music?
Yeah, I think it fits the vibe of the music better anyway. Yeah, I think that's just probably the move. Yeah.
Are you a music artist trying to find a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible? Then check out DistroKid. DistroKid is a super user-friendly and super easy-to-use service that will make your music available in stores like Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, Amazon Music, YouTube, Snapchat, everything. Everything you could imagine, it's available. People will even be able to add your songs into their Instagram stories. DistroKid helps you with the distribution, monetization, and promotion of all of your music. Use the link in the description of this video for 7% off any DistroKid package you want. Pick from musician packages designed to help artists get their own music out there, or even get a label package where you can manage up to 100 artists from one profile. So that's more for like managers, labels, and you can also get the musician package that I mentioned earlier, which is more for artists, producers, things like that. It's super easy, and you can get 7% off any package right now with the link in the description of this video. So once again, if you're looking for a way to get your music on as many streaming platforms as possible, I'm talking any platform you can think of, get DistroKid and get 7% off right now with the link in the description. Back to the program.
Today, a lot of artists are focusing a lot on social media, not so much like more than the music, but really making a point to promote themselves with that. It's sort of seen as like almost a necessity nowadays, and labels are even starting to like catch on, find out like ways they can utilize it. What do you think that sort of does for the music industry as a whole? And do you think like it's sort of we'll come back to the second part of this, but first off, just what do you think of it as a whole?
So, I mean, it's amazing. Social media is great because this is sort of recycled, but it's the most organic way to put out your music, right? It's free to do, and it can open up a lot of doors for people, and that's sort of been the formula for the last, especially since COVID, is just putting your music on TikTok. Maybe it goes viral on TikTok, and you just spray and pray. You do the shotgun approach and just try to put out as many videos as possible and see what lands. And there's an art to that, I guess. But there's a huge downside with it too, is that social media can have a huge effect on artists' mental health. And I've definitely experienced this. It's like I try to make as many TikToks as possible, right? And I just hope that one of them a week does okay by my standards, right? But when it doesn't do okay, it's like, holy shit, why does no one like me? Everyone hates me. This is done. This is stupid. I'm not going to make it. All of that super negative, all those super negative emotions that come with it. And it's like a huge, I don't know. It's such a new feeling that's so hard to describe. I'm sure a lot of artists go through this too. It's like, and I've talked to artists about this too, and it's like everyone who's on TikTok kind of feels how I feel. It's it's draining, but it can be super rewarding at the end of the day. So
yeah. And I mean, it is always like TikTok or just any social media in general, the numbers are a big thing that you gotta like not worry about, but like make sure they don't get to your head. Like make sure you're having a good relationship with them, that it doesn't like make or break your day or your week or anything like
Totally.
that. And uh, like, I mean, I personally think it's like overall positive. People are getting their music out there.
Yeah.
People are
No,
finding new
I
ways to
totally.
do it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
And
agree. I agree with that. It's
yeah, but the downside comes that some people see other artists like come out with a song or like a short EP, like a project, and it just does well enough on social media that they get big, get a label, and like all this happens for them seemingly overnight.
yeah,
And a lot of people are now just going for like a catchy hook that they can put in a TikTok, or like making the songs shorter.
yeah,
What is your thought process on all of that? Like almost changing your music or your creative process to fit on social media?
yeah. That's a great question. It's I mean, my opinion on that is that you know, I think it's bullshit, but I don't think that. I think ultimately you got to do what you got to do if you feel like that's the best way to get people's attention, and maybe it grabs people, and it can be an opportunity for listeners to find more of your music. If you just have that one super catchy, trendy hook that you put on TikTok, I mean, it can allow listeners to see what you're really like. I mean, I know for me, I try not to do this so much anymore, but for a period of time when I was writing songs, it was like, ooh, what can I caption this as on TikTok? Will people like this?
Yeah.
And everything that I was putting out, everything that I was creating during that time, at least, was worse, and
Hmm.
it didn't grab people's attention the way I thought it would. So I've tried to sort of steer away from that as much as possible. There's still a little bit of that, like the remnants of those thinking of that thought process still kind of sticks with me when I'm writing, but I try not to let it. I try not to
Yeah.
let it completely dictate what I'm writing about. Um, but that's still kind of a process because I'm totally addicted to TikTok. So
Yeah.
and
And as many of us are.
yeah, and
And
posting videos on it and see refreshing and refreshing over and over again.
yeah, and I think like it's really overall just the difference between like okay, I can do something, maybe it catches on, maybe people like start liking this song, or just I get my name heard, like it comes up on different social media outlets, news things, and people know of me but don't really listen. Versus like it might take a bit longer, but if you're just focusing on music, eventually people who like your music and like you as an artist and are gonna follow you, willing to spend money on you, they'll find you over time, however they do, and start doing that. And a huge example that I just saw that I really look up to is I don't know if you know a lot about Logic, the rapper, but
Yeah, a little
he's
bit.
like he talked about like when he came out with 1-800, and I think the album after that and that whole era, he was really big on like, okay, what can I do to become like a popular artist, like make rap songs that really anyone who likes any sort of rap can get with and like really like and enjoy. Versus now he has like that intimate group of fans that like his unique style and like him as an artist, and
Right.
he's really much more independent now, and he's like, okay, I'm just gonna do what feels right, what I think sounds awesome. And
Yeah.
I mean, recently he's gone all, like full on like fan connection mode. Like he started to Discord with fans where it's you buy like a subscription, but then there's like an area where all the like anyone who's in it who's a producer can hang out, share ideas, share beats. Like he's making this whole collective or like community almost with his fans to just keep making better music and like
Yeah.
have them all help each other rather than make it like competitive or anything like
Yeah.
that.
No, that's
And
super important. That's super important when you're coming out with music is trying to avoid that competitive nature, even though
Yeah.
think I think artists, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we're all kind of competitive by nature, and because
Yeah.
it's a hard industry to make it in, and you, yeah, it could feel like super
And
daunting
it's
when,
just like I think the way a lot of people make and consume music now is just by nature more competitive. I mean, like like way back when like people mostly listened to the radio, it was like you could find artists you like, you could find songs, you could buy vinyls if you wanted to put them on the record player, and the music was there like to enjoy and to listen to. And now with whether it's Spotify, Apple Music, whatever streaming platform it is, like it'll tell you the number of streams on a song,
yeah,
almost like a
no,
score for like a sports game. It'll tell you like the number of streams for Spotify, at least like the bigger artists. It'll tell you like where they rank in all the artists on Spotify, and it's become so
I
much
know.
more like competitive and keeping score versus just like people trying to share music with the world.
No, exactly, and that's something that I'm totally guilty of, or at least was guilty of in college, my college band. On your Spotify for artists, like portal, you can compare your streams to other artists, and I used to do that with bands, with my band, and then other bands in the scene to see like where we were at, and
Yeah,
it's incredibly toxic. Like nobody should be doing that, especially in sports. It's different, right? You're working towards
yeah,
a designated goal, right? But
yeah,
in music, there's no end common goal that
yeah.
anyone's working towards. It's everyone's doing their own thing at their own pace, right?
Yeah, it's just sharing our music, sharing whatever they can create or make with the world.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Totally.
so, now, like when you're trying to come up with a song, starting the creative process, what does that look like for you? Do you usually have lyrics come first, instrumental? What
Yeah.
is your process like?
So at every song that I think I've ever written has started with the melody and the guitar part. So I come up with the guitar part, and then I just sometimes I have like this long list of notes that I've had going since I was 17, and I will add to that, and I'll take stuff from that sometimes. But I'm trying to come up with to start the song. I have one line that I kind of just center the whole song around,
Hmm.
and whatever melody that works into, I just try to center around this one line. And
Yeah.
sometimes it'll just come to me, and sometimes I scroll through my notes to find something that works. But yeah, that's kind of
Yeah.
how it starts. Yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome. I've heard that a lot, that that artist will like pick whether it's the hook, the chorus, or even just like a random line in one of the verses. They'll start with like one line that they think like I would say fits the vibe, but really like makes the vibe for the song, and
totally.
then goes based off of that. We'll add like, okay, there's this, and then they can. I mean, sometimes even if like they've said like rearrange it almost like puzzle pieces or like building blocks. They'll be like, okay, I originally had this as like the first verse or a chorus, but maybe that would work better as like a hook, and just move parts around like that. And I think it's just really awesome to see people like however they do it, start a song and then just see it take shape and see where it takes them to
Yeah,
like have the finished product.
yeah,
And
it's incredibly satisfying for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I mean, just like with your sound or your like music at all, do you find inspiration in other artists? And if you do,
Oh
how do
yeah.
you sort of keep it like inspiration rather than like copying their sound?
Yeah, completely derivative. So I mean, I've always had this. I go through eras with the people with the artists that I obsess with, right? or obsess over. So I have like when I first started writing music, it was like Bon Iver, Gregory Allen, Isaac, stuff like that. And then I found Phoebe Bridgers and got obsessed with her through high school and college. Still am. But I take a lot of inspiration from her these days. Still, right now I take a lot of inspiration from Pine Grove and Elliott Smith and Radiohead, stuff like that. But I don't know. I try to keep it from being a straight up copy and paste.
Yeah.
I try to take stuff from all of the eras of music listening that I've gone through and just kind of blend it into one. So in, like I was saying, in high school, it was the indie folk thing. In college, it was the emo thing, where I was super into Midwest emo bands like Oso Oso and Mom Jeans and American Football and stuff like that. So I try to just make it like a cosmic gumbo of all of the stuff that I have always listened to.
Which really works because that's basically what your sound is or has to be like, I think, because no one has listened to the same artist you have for the same amount of time or like anything like that. Like taking everything you've listened to or liked over the years and combining it into one is completely unique to any person. Like even if you're someone who only likes pop music or like whatever is hot right now or on top of the charts, you still in some ways gravitate towards certain artists or songs more than other people.
Yeah.
And so that is like a sort of built-in way to get, you know, a unique sound or figure out what you like in music. And
Absolutely.
yeah, and with your music, like do you think there is a song that has really found that sound or that you can point to when you're talking to someone about your music and be like, this is the kind of music that I make?
Like from my catalog?
Yeah, like a song that you've made that sort of shows off like your sound.
Oh, sure. I think the song, I mean, at least on the Portra page, with the Portra project, is probably the song "Covered in the Sediment." It's sort of the song that I think blends the math rock that I listened to in college and the indie folk stuff that I listened to in high school, still listen to now. I think that kind of exemplifies my writing the most. Like if I was gonna, if somebody asked me what music I made and they asked me to show them a song, I would probably show them "Covered in the Sediment." Even though that's not the most popular one, I still think that it's one that I resonate with a lot, and the meaning of it means a lot to me too. So it's just totally. I think that kind of shows people what I make.
Yeah, great. And what I mean with this new sort of like with this interchangeability of like Portra or Cayden Wemple, either project, what level do you want to sort of reach with your music like as a whole? Like some people like keep gunning for like I want to be like biggest in the world, top of the charts, and some people are more just like I want it to be like my full-time career, and once I get that, like I'll be happy and things like that. So just is there sort of a level that you have in mind that you want to reach?
I want it to take me as far as it's willing to take me. I want to be like my heroes, and my heroes aren't necessarily the most. They're not like Paul McCartney or Drake, but they're respectable musicians that everyone loves, everyone vibes with, everyone cites them as inspiration, and most of them could walk around the street and they wouldn't get stopped every 5 seconds to get a picture taken with them. I want to live a semi-private life, and I want people to listen to my music, and I want to sustain myself off of it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm all for like a private life or even semi-private life. Because I mean, I was listening to a podcast with I mean, it's not so much music, but like Mr. Beast from YouTube, and he was saying like he really he has just clocks going in his head to like keep track of how much time he's spending in any public place because he'll say because he's like the problem isn't that so many people recognize him wherever he goes. He says that the main problem is he'll go, let's say whatever it is, to Walmart, and someone sees him, asks for a picture. Within like minutes, that picture's on their story, and people know where it is, and then they go there just to see him. And so he knows that he talks about he has this whole formula that like whenever he's in any sort of public place, he always like accepts pictures and he'll want to take pictures with fans. But then he sort of starts a timer that I think he said it was like 15 minutes or something. It was like once I take that first picture, 15 minutes, I have to be like out of there, or else it will be like a mob scene. And I was like, I don't want to deal with that. It's way too much stress, like for me or on my mind. So,
yeah,
like
I mean, that seems like
I'm all
such
for just like being able to be a normal human, like and
yeah,
like without being bothered all the time.
right, totally. And I mean, my biggest hero is Justin Vernon from Bon Iver, and you know, I would know who he was if he was walking down the street.
Yeah,
but he's this big time, huge Grammy winning artist, and nobody he doesn't get stopped on once a day, probably, right? And he's working with amazing people. People love him. People respect him. He works with Taylor Swift, right? I mean, he does whatever he wants to do. He lives his life. He has a Tesla, right? He sustains himself perfectly fine, and he can live a pretty normal life, right?
And the people who know him, and, you know, might
exactly
go up to him, but by no means is it like everyone. And so
exactly, yeah. I mean,
and,
seems perfect to me.
Yeah. And so, you know, trying to make music or just like with your sound, if you got this opportunity to make a song with any artist or any band in the world, who would you want to collaborate with?
Great question. Probably Justin Vernon.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that sense.
Yeah, he's just such a brilliant producer, and such an incredibly talented songwriter. And probably Justin Vernon, maybe Phoebe Bridgers, preferably both. But
yeah. And like with your music, going back to that, on any of the projects you've worked on, is there a song of yours that like whether it's just from the process of making it or the final product that's your favorite or that you really like the most?
Yeah, probably like what we were talking about earlier. Probably either Covered in the Sediment, or maybe I mean, I don't know. It's hard to pick and choose. Probably Covered in the Sediment. But I have songs that I'm working on right now that I'm recording this summer. That I'll be in the studio recording, and I have a few that I'm super excited to share that I've been teasing a little bit on TikTok. A song called Alkaline, and another one called another one I wrote about my girlfriend, called Just Two. So I'm excited about those for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, feel free to like sort of keep it to yourself or move on. But what can you tell us about these upcoming songs or anything like that? Like, what are they?
So I have over the next couple years, I have a plan to release 20 songs, and these first ones, a lot of them I've been teasing on TikTok. So if you watch my TikTok, you'll probably recognize a few of them when they come out. Hopefully, the first track will be out of this 20 song project will be out in middle fall, October. So that's my goal.
Yeah, awesome. And I mean, like with your current project, Portra, your latest song, but then I just stopped growing. What can you just tell us about that? What was sort of the inspiration behind it?
Yeah.
There's anything you can tell us about that song?
Yeah. So I wrote that song in the middle of the night, um, which I don't really do that often, but I was just feeling it. And I wrote most of it. I never really do this either, but I wrote probably 80% of it in the first session, and it's probably an hour and a half or 2 hours, which is super rare for me. Normally, it takes me forever to finish a song, at least a week or two. But I finished it over the course of like 24 hours, and I was like, the song kind of sucks. I think I'm going to throw it away. But I put it up on TikTok in like, I think it was like late 2021, and people liked it. It was like the first song, original song that I really put up on TikTok that got momentum, and I was really excited about it because before that I had just been posting like guitar tutorials and stuff like that. But I was really excited about it, and yeah, it's kind of about not living up to people's expectations, right?
Yeah.
I think I had been going through a time where I had just broken up with my girlfriend at the time, and I was just not. I felt like I hadn't done any growing
Yeah.
from any of my relationships over the past. I mean, since high school, right? I feel like I'd just been the same emotionally stunted person. I felt like I hadn't done much growing. But since then, I feel like, I've gone to therapy, a lot of therapy, and I feel like I've done some growing up. So yeah, it's just sort of it's interesting that song just kind of captures a spot in time for me that was super tough. And it's interesting to look back on now because I don't really feel like that anymore. But I think it was a song I really related to a lot at the time. So
Yeah. Awesome.
yeah, it's interesting to look back on.
Yeah. And with that, and then the song that we've brought up a couple times, Covered in Sediment, like the cover arts for them are super similar. Is there like any meaning behind that? Any like, is it like part of a project or that you're
Yeah.
working on tied together in any way? Just tell us about that.
Yeah. So my girlfriend does all of my album art. We actually met because she reached out to me on Instagram and wanted to do my album art. So
That's
it was
awesome.
like perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
She does such an amazing job, and she's extremely talented. I don't even remember where the oranges came from, honestly. I got them. You can kind of see. I got them tattooed on my leg, though.
Oh, yeah.
You can
Yeah.
kind of see it. Not to flash everyone, but yeah, I don't even really remember where it came from, but she just started drawing it, and she does such an amazing job with the artwork. She's extremely talented. So, yeah, that's sort of the story behind that.
Yeah. Awesome. And so just now that you've brought them up, tattoos, you know, other than the oranges, do you have many tattoos? And if you do,
Yeah.
like, do you sort of wait for like something meaningful that you think you want, or is it you have a couple that are more like spur of the moment just because it looks cool?
Sort of half and half. I love to get tattoos at parties and stuff. That's what I did in college, and that's not the most.
That's the best place to get tattoos.
Well, I don't. Maybe, but yeah. I mean, I have some dumb ones for sure, but I have stuff that means a ton to me. Like this is my Phoebe Bridgers tattoo. I buried a hatchet. It's coming up lavender from her song "Smoke Signals," and that means a ton to me. Just letting bygones be bygones. I think that's super beautiful. This one is all about. This is Bon Iver's first album art, and then the the numbers around it are the addresses of the houses that I grew up in.
Yeah.
And I have a bunch of other music tattoos and stupid stick and poke tattoos, and I'm all into it. But I've already had a cover up too, so I'm only 24. I just turned 24, and I already have a cover up. But no, they're fun.
Yeah. And okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna sort of go on with like, do you like regret any of them or anything like that? I guess that sort of answers it if you already covered one of them.
Yeah, I made a dumb decision when it was last summer actually. I had been seeing this girl, and we weren't even really dating, but we like broke up or whatever, and I was like meeting up. I went to go meet up with this other girl that I really liked, and I was like, "What are you doing?" And she was like, "Getting tattoos." I was like, "Sick, fuck yeah, let's do it." And then she left, and I was just at the tattoo shop by myself while they were closing, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'll still do it." So I got a figure eight for Elliott Smith, but it ended up looking like an infinity sign, of course, because that's what figure eight is. And I was like, this is the most Tumblr tattoo in the history of the world. This is so dumb. So I had it for about 10 months, and I just got it covered up in May with the oranges, actually. So everything for a reason. But yeah, that's the one I definitely regret the most.
The super original infinitesimal that no one's ever tattooed ever.
What? Sorry, what'd you say?
The super original infinitesimal tattoo that no one's ever tattooed ever.
I know. They should just honestly, tattoo shops should just bar that from happening. Such a dumb.
Hey, can I just get an infinitesimal here? No, actually, no, you can't.
No,
we're done.
You actually cannot, and you should get out. But no, they're fun. I love tattoos.
Yeah,
I plan on getting a lot more too. So, yeah.
Awesome. Do you have any? I mean, I guess it sort of started with the oranges, but do you have any thoughts as to if you'll release any music that you then want to get a tattoo for that or something like that?
Yeah, none right now. None right now. I think honestly, it's a little bit maybe narcissistic to get your own music tattooed on you. So even though I'm a total hypocrite and did that basically, but I won't get any of my own lyrics tattooed on me.
Yeah.
But some artwork now and then, every now and then, that would be cool.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, those are all the questions I had for you today. So thank you so much for coming on. It's been a great time, talking to you and getting to know you and your music.
Totally.
Anything you want to shout out or promote to people listening? Feel free to let them know where they can find you.
Sure. You can find me on the Spotify. My artist name is Portra, although that's changing to Cayden Wemple pretty soon. You can find me on TikTok at Cayden Wemple, CaydenWe, M as in Mark, P as in Paul, LE. You can find me on Instagram at Cayden, Cayden.Portra. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you again so much for coming on, and I can't wait to hear these 20 songs that are coming up whenever.
I'll send them to you before they come out too, so you can hear them.
Awesome.